Hello and welcome to another video. This is Grace.Filled and I am so excited to be back with you guys for another video. First off, I want to just welcome you here. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I appreciate you coming over and showing me love. If it's your first time, let me know in the comments so I can just greet you and love on you. If you are returning, I appreciate you coming back to watch. It means so much to me. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss all the other videos coming up or the ones I've already posted. And last but not least, if you hear my goats or if you hear my chickens, please just keep on going. So, all right, in this video, I am talking about the changes that I am making to this new homeschool year that I'm so excited about. This 2022-2023 homeschool year one. And then also, so that I didn't make another small video, I'm putting it together and just talking about how I am preparing my middle schooler. So those two things is what you can look for in this video. For those of you who are new here, this is my 11th year homeschooling. I have 5 children. I have a 10th grader that is in public school. I have a 7th grader, a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, and a 1st grader, all that I homeschool. The first 4 are boys, and the last one, the baby, is a girl. So, first of all, we are focusing on balance, focus, discipline. And so for the changes that we're making for this year, they're kind of related to that. And we're going to start off with our space. You can tell from my background that we're in a new space. The room is not complete yet. It will be soon, and I will bring you along for a new homeschool room tour. So that is the first thing, that we have a new space. I know for some people, they mentioned they don't want to have their home and homeschool separate, that, you know, we do it together and it is life, and I'm absolutely for that. I absolutely agree with that. But for us, being a large family of 7 in our house, we just kind of needed to have the extra space for us so that we could have more space to be together in that capacity. And so what that did was I sacrificed and gave up my flower shop. And so now we have a beautiful space that's over here that's just for us. It's separated. And now when family and friends come over, they're not all in our space, all in our stuff. They have a place that they can enjoy. And we have a place that's like a solitude, that's like a beautiful, you'll just love it. It's so just inviting. It's so fresh. It's nestled kind of near the animals, but it's nestled with flowers all around it. And so it's an amazing space. And it's separate, and we know when we're in here, it's business. And when we're in there, it's relaxing and it's family. And so although that may not work for everybody, everybody doesn't have the space. We have 6 acres, so we had the space to put this here. It was, already. But you may not have the space to do that, nor desire, and that's okay. To each their own homeschool. But that is the biggest new thing this year, is being able to have, I've always had a separate dedicated homeschool space, but now I have a homeschool space that's not inside the house. So it's separate from our house. Now, with that being said, that brings about some changes. And so that is the second change that we are adding. And that's now we have to pack our lunches and our snacks, because before, when we were done homeschooling, we would just go when it's break time and then go back. But see, that's for me. What I noticed is that I would spend more time than I would have doing dishes or putting laundry in. And yes, that is a perk of being able to be home with your children, is being able to do a couple other things as well. It's also a disadvantage. It's a disadvantage, because if I was teaching at a public or a private or a charter school, the reality is I wouldn't be washing clothes, and I wouldn't be, washing dishes, and I wouldn't be doing all those things. And so although it's absolutely amazing, it does take away, and it can be a distraction. And so for me, again, balance, focus, and discipline. So I'm being disciplined to only be here. So we're going to pack our lunches and our snacks, and I'm going to be setting up this this station where they can put everything, where we can have hot tea, hot cocoa, where we can have a water station. And so we don't have to be so distracted with those other things. We're focusing on the more important thing this year. So something else is requiring personal reads. So if you guys have been following me, you know that I'm always talking about our book baskets, or maybe I'm not. Maybe I just think I am and I'm really not. But I'm talking about my book baskets and showing pictures and, library hauls and just personal hauls. And, I read to them maybe an hour a night or so. And I have a few kids who absolutely love reading. I mean, like that's just their whole language. But then I have some kids that could really leave it. And so I'm requiring everybody. I mean, everybody really is going to be stepping up their reading game. And so what that means is there's going to be less electronics. Again, everybody's going to do what works for them, but for my home, I find the children rush through everything they have to do just so they can get to the electronics. So the electronics is really the focus, and that's why I said balance. I don't feel like we have balance. That's why I said discipline and focus, because I feel like the focus is off. If all we're doing is hurry, hurry, hurry to do this, we're kind of missing some of the other things. We're kind of missing the point in the picture. And so I'm not taking it away, but I'm just limiting it, and there will be opportunities to earn it. And the reality is we work so that we can earn money. And with the money, we get the things that we want. And so we don't just get the money, and so they just don't get the electronic time. But again, that's for me. And I also feel like that's a really good way to motivate and be an incentive for them. So if your child liked something else, that would be your incentive. But for me, in this state, in this season of my life, this is what's motivating some of the children. And so I'm going to roll with it. I'm not going to fight it. So what I am doing, though, is focusing on the weakness. So this year, the word of the year is faith. And again, I'm focusing on the weakness, but having faith that even our weaknesses, because what? In our weakness, what's happening? Yeah. So it's not a bad thing to be weak, and it's not a bad thing to say, I need help in this area. And so one of the areas that we need to work on is writing. And it's not that we can't write, it's just that we don't do a lot of it. And depending on who you ask, there's so many different learning styles and things like that. A lot would say that you really shouldn't start to 5th, 6th, 7th grade is when you should start like the formal writing papers and essays and all those things. Again, you're going to do what works best for your family. I know we have personally been using the Good and Beautiful, and they don't do a lot of writing in their Good and Beautiful up until the higher grades as well. So I just felt like we needed to add more into our homeschool. So that is what we are focusing on. I am thinking about moving the morning basket to the night basket. I'm not sure yet. And when I decide and figure that out, I'll let you know, and maybe even film a morning or night basket with us. And it's a bittersweet thing, because it's not that I don't love it. I absolutely love it, and so do my children. But here's the deal. Every single day, we can spend 2 hours on the morning basket. I'm not making it up. Like 2 hours straight on that morning basket, because they love it. I mean, they love, 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 love it. I do like a read aloud, sometimes 2 read alouds, like from different ones. Like we have one that goes with our curriculum. Then we have like a read aloud that's like a family read aloud. And then we have our How Great Is Our God Indescribable. And then we have another devotion. I mean, they just love, and we have worship music. They love that time, and it makes my heart happy. I love that time. But again, it is 2 of our hours. And so really that read aloud is taking up almost a third of our day, which is okay. But I'm just wondering, how would it be if maybe I do half morning, half night? Or since they're so excited about that, if maybe, again, incentive, I'm just being real with it. With all these kids, you have to just, yeah. So with incentive to, okay, get all your stuff done so you can be here so mama can read to you and you can go ahead and get that basket going. So I'm going to be, again, just letting you know, everything's going to pretty much be the same. It's just we might be switching the times of it. All right, next up is our book year. This is definitely going to be the book year. So I have a son who read probably over 200 books the last school year and read over 1,000 hours on Epic. He loves books. And then I have, Kalani can't read yet. Aaron can read, but he is not reading 200 books for the year, nor is my 7th grader. So this year we are challenging ourselves to read 100 books, which I feel should be easy because I personally read 4 books this month alone. I personally read 4 books last month alone, and Eli's just going to pull up from the rear anything that we're missing because he's just amazing with the books. Slow entry. That's another change that we're making to our homeschool. We are doing a slow entry to our homeschool this year. It's not necessarily a change. I do it every year, but I think that this year, again, I'm just being more intentional about it. So normally the first week of school, we kind of start on like the last couple of days actually, and normally like a Thursday, Friday, or something like that. And we have like a party, celebration. We go out, and like last year we went to the science center. Well, we did a whole trip, but then went to the science center. So we normally just do trips and things like that just to welcome that year, maybe eating out, exciting special things. But this year we're going to have a slow week, and we have not done that every single year, but this year we'll definitely be doing a slow week. And that gives us time to, let me clarify. We will be starting school on August the 22nd, which is a Monday. But this week before, we're having a slow entry. And it's really like back to school prep. So this whole week, we are practicing the execution of waking up on time, going to bed on time, having our meals on time. And so just this whole week, not work, but just the schedule, just the flow. The kids have kind of been doing their thing this summer, and now we're getting ready to go back into a structured way of doing things so that we can accomplish our goals and get all of our assignments and things done. And it's really hard to go from here to here. And so this is kind of that prep phase that we're kind of in, where we're gonna be, again, just practicing the execution. And I can see again what the weaknesses are. Are you brushing your teeth but not cleaning your ears? Are you doing this but not that? Are you putting your towel and washcloth where it needs to be? So this is that time to just see what's happening, pay extra attention, hone in, and really work on those things before school starts, so that when school starts, we can just go and we're not worried about these other things. The math for the oldest 2 are changing. Master books did not work for us, and so we are changing that. I don't know for sure, but I really want to outsource art. When we went to the Colorado Homeschool Conference, there was this class there, and my kids actually got to do some art while they were there, and I'm telling you, it was so amazing, and they had an awesome program. And so I really want to do that. It's expensive to me, but I guess if you look at it for the year and for all the kids, maybe it's not so bad, but I haven't been able to afford it yet. But if I can get that, I really, 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 really want to do that, because my kids are absolutely phenomenal at art. I mean, they are phenomenal artists, particularly too. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's incredible what they can do at their age. And then the next change, again, is just being more disciplined. My kids are older, they require more, I'm requiring more, and they need to give more because they have it to give. When you're working, there was a time when I had, 5 kids, 10 and under, but I don't have that anymore. All of my kids they're older now. So I don't have babies anymore. I'm not nursing anymore. Like, my life is different. I have a middle schooler now. I have higher elementary school students now. And so I'm just moving along with that. And speaking of that, I wanted to kind of just talk about how I'm preparing for middle school. And it's nothing profound and just like, but I just thought I would share it anyway. And so one of the things is just having deadlines. I think it's important to start off with that. I know that some, again, homeschoolers don't like that sort of discipline and set schedule and stuff. But again, I'm doing what works for us and what I feel we need to know. And so if you were attending a public middle or high school, or even for college, I'm an undergrad student, my junior year, majoring in psychology, I have deadlines. And that probably was my biggest struggle this past semester, actually, was just trying to meet all the deadlines and balance everything that I had going on. And so if they can get this now in middle school, just starting out, and then build upon that in high school, when they get to college, they're already ahead of the game, because regardless of whether they're working on or off campus or not, they'll still have to balance. They'll have to know how to balance home life, school life, study life, friend life. They'll have to know these things. And so deadlines is a great way to do that, as well as tests. Normally I don't have specific tests, especially for the younger ones, but middle school is for test. And I don't think that it has to be a test in every single subject, every single day, every single week. I don't even think it has to be that either. But I think that maybe you can just, because again, we don't want to go from here to here, but maybe you can just do midterm, final, and maybe you can do two. Maybe you can do a test once a month. So I know right now we do spelling test and we do math test. Okay, so next up is flashcards. I am going to get him a flashcard box holder and provide him with flashcards, and he can make his own flashcards. I would say that majority of the time I make those for my kids. It just takes me a second, and I'm able to do it, and they have their spelling or vocabulary words or this or that. But this year he's gonna be in charge of that. Like, he's gonna write his own spelling words down. He's gonna write his own vocabulary. He can use that to take his notes on, and then again he has his own little container that he can divide it and put those into. And it's such a great way to just really stay organized and on top of things. Along with staying on top of things and organized, he's gonna get a planner this year. We tried a planner in another year and it just didn't work. It wasn't, it wasn't the time. And that's the thing, there's a time developmentally for everything. And so typically in middle school, in the public school, that is when you're actually given a planner from the school even as well. So developmentally, that is the time. And that's not to say that you can't have a planner before, but middle school really is a great time to go ahead and start with that planning, writing down any notes, anything you need to remember, anything you need to have, and even like if you didn't get all your stuff done, writing down what you didn't get done, so that maybe you can do that for homework or decide how you're going to work that out. Also this year, it's a change for us, and it's how I'm preparing my middle schooler, is uniforms. I think that uniforms are great because it eliminates a lot of hassle with clothing, what to wear, how to match it, this, that, the other. I think that they're a great way to just look presentable and neat. And not every job, but most jobs have some sort of uniform or dress code. For most jobs, you just can't go and wear your favorite XYZ. There are certain parameters. It needs to be a certain color, a certain length, and that's just it. And so maybe you'll have a job that you won't need that, but for majority of the jobs, there is some sort of uniform. And I just think that by having these uniforms, it's gonna be beneficial for them and for me. And I am really excited about them. I do have a video on them because I was able to thrift all of them. And the best part is they were actually brand new with the tags. So that was such a big find for me. And the last thing that I am doing to prepare my middle schooler I do want to add something else about uniforms too. If your child were to be going to a Christian school or private school, they would be wearing uniforms there too. And so I personally look at my homeschool like it's a private school. They're getting a customized, catered education to them, to their learning styles, to their likes, their dislikes. And then this year, we're focusing on the weaknesses or things that I would like to see improvement in, or things that maybe they don't love as much. Because if I give some of the children art all day, and if I give the child books all day, they could be happy. But the child who loves the books needs to know how to do the art. The child who knows the art needs to know how to do the books. The one who's the drummer needs to know this. And so everybody needs to know everything. Everybody needs to know everything. Everybody needs to know everything. Okay, and the last thing that I'm doing to prepare my middle schooler is I'm giving him paid chores, right? So if he's going to be having deadlines, tests, he needs to plan out things, needs to wear the uniform, he should get paid too, right? Yes, because that's ultimately the end goal. At the end of the day, they're not going to be with us forever. We're just preparing them and giving them what they need so that they can be successful along their way. And whatever he chooses to do, that's fine. But whatever he chooses to do will come with a financial compensation. And he needs to know when he gets that compensation how to deal with it, what to do with it, so that he doesn't get the money, blow it all one day, and doesn't have food for the rest of the month, or whatever it is that he needs, or gas or something, or he doesn't have money for his books. So financial literacy is such an important thing, because we are not debt-free yet. I don't know personally many people who are debt-free. I am absolutely trying to be debt-free, and I really want to push that to my children, being as debt-free as possible, because I know the benefits, and it's such a stress reliever not having to worry about those type of things. So he personally goes ahead and he gives the chickens water. And he has his own personal cat, and so he gives his cat food, water, and changes out the litter. So that he's going to get paid for giving the chickens water. And if he decides that he wants to do some garden work or some yard work, I have like a this is not it, but like a little sheet that says need money, do this. And so he can go through the list and pick whatever job he wants to do, and then he can get the payment for doing that job. So the one thing that he has to do is give the chickens water, and then he can kind of choose from a list some of the other things. And so I won't get into the chores for the other people, because that was just for my middle schooler. But I hope this video was not too all over the place, but that I gave you enough, and that I gave you some substance, and that I gave you some tips on how to prepare your middle schooler, and even possibly some food for thought and things you might want to change in your homeschool. I know that so many people are like, oh, this new this and this new that, and there's nothing wrong with new this and that. But if you have all this new stuff, but you still are missing some things, and your school day is not flowing properly, if your week's not going well, if you're not hitting your marks and meeting your goals and all that stuff, then it doesn't even matter. So for me, I'm just trying to share with you the things that have helped me. And although I have not done this thing perfectly, although I'm sure I have missed the mark several times, probably several times each year, one thing for sure is I am faithful and consistent, and this is my 11th year doing this thing. And so I wouldn't totally discount the things that I say, because for someone to do something for 11 years, that's dedication, that's some commitment, and there's probably some wisdom in there if you'll just take the time to listen. I don't have it all figured out. I'm no, body so special or spectacular. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, take these things that I've said and that I've shared, and see if it'll work for you. See if it'll help you. See if maybe getting a dedicated space would help you, or seeing if maybe, wait, what if I make lunches for my family ahead of time? Would that save me the time of cooking the lunch, cleaning the lunch, putting the stuff up? Because now with that time I could have done all that. The lunch is already ready, and now I can be reading. I can be doing something I want to do. I can be having me time, take a nap, go for a walk, tend to the garden or the animals, or whatever the case may be. So just think about some of the things that I've said, and just see if it'll work for you guys. So that's it for this video. I'll be back with more. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming videos. Something I always say here, and it's dear to my heart, and I'll continue to say it: you can do a lot with a little. Now, I'm never out of words, but I am out of time. So until my next video, blessings.